For my subscribers and those that have been following me, you've seen the project I've done, which involved the installation of a wheelchair lift for my wife to get her from the driveway up here down to our lower level to our suite patio. Now, today's project is going to be to put a cover over this apparatus, and it won't be a large cover, but I hope it'll be substantial enough to keep the snow and rain off and just keep it from jamming up in the wintertime if it should freeze. Now, I do not have a plan for this. I have a few ideas, so it's going to be one of my evolving projects, like most of them are. You start with what you need and what you know you have to put in, and then it'll evolve. I'm still not completely sure as to what type of a roof I'm going to put on it. It'll probably be like a barrel hoop roof of some sort, like a covered wagon, but I don't know if it's going to be in metal or in plastic. So we'll just have to stay tuned and see what goes on. Well, the first step, or first phase, is to build a couple of posts on either side of the lift here, and I'm going to use a piece of heavy wall pipe. This was used for handrail at one time, I believe. I think it's even, I don't think it's gas pipe, but it's scrap. It's some salvage, so it hasn't cost me very much. And we're going to put that into the two posts on either side of the lift here, and then we'll get our measurements for height and try and determine what kind of a roofing structure we're going to put on it. So let's get at it. So I've got my pipe inside my post. Now the fence posts are quite light material, so I've gone right down to the bottom of the post and into the ground, because this post is cemented into the ground. And what I hope that'll do is strengthen up this whole end post by using this piece of pipe that fits. It's not snug, but I'm going to bolt it in place once it's in there anyway. Well, we're up in the workshop. I'm going to cut off the pipe, and I've elected to use my heavy-duty pipe cutter. This is our cut line. Like I say, the white shows up very nice on black pipe. I know not everybody has a heavy-duty pipe cutter like this, but as I say, you could grind this off or cut it with a hacksaw just as well. There you go. Nice and clean. A nice straight cut. I'll just grind off the little burr there, and we're in business. Now I've got my post height accurate on this side. We're at 5'6" from the actual concrete slab. So I've got to make a new post for this side right here, and to match that one. So this pipe here is going to go into the post right here. But the post went so far into the ground right here that my pipe completely disappeared. So what I've done, in order to build up the inside of that pipe, I've taken some fine sand here, my funnel, and some of this fine sand, and I put some in there, and then I capped it off with a bit of pea gravel, and then finally a larger stone, and tamped it down. So now you can see my stone is stuck in the end of my pipe. So now there we have it. That's brought my pipe up. So I've got substantial pipe sticking out, but still not quite high enough to meet the other pipe. So I'm going to calculate using a level and a piece of U-channel spanning across the two, and find out how much more pipe I have to cut off my little extra piece here and drop into the hole. So I'm going to bridge across between my far post and this post. I'm going to use my level to tell me when I'm right on. And I'm going to use my tape measure to measure the distance between the top of my post and the level cross beam, and that'll tell me how much pipe I have to drop in to the hole here. So here's my level. So it looks like 2 1/4. So it's 2 1/4 inches we need. We'll take our little shorty piece of pipe here, cut off 2 1/4, and we'll drop that down in through the gate post here, and that'll bring us up high enough that our posts will be even on both sides. Okay, we've cut our little section here, 2 1/4. So our little slug here is going to go in the pipe to bring this up 2 1/4 inches. There she goes. Now we'll check our level again. We've got our little slug in there. Whether you can see that or not, the level is bang on. So that's perfect. So we've got the height of our 2 pipes that we require. Now the next thing, I'm going to need some cross members on the outside of the posts to support my barrel roof that's going to go over top. Now I'll just move this a little bit here. You can see the top of the pipe. Now, what I did, I went up to the shop to cut a few pieces of pipe. I'm going to use this U-channel, real heavy duty. That's actually a carrying channel or a hanger channel for commercial use. They put ready rod through it, through the ceiling, and then they'll run wires and pipes over top of this. So it's real skookum. So what I did is I cut a couple of pieces, 6-inch pieces here, of the actual pipe that this one slides in. So this will slide over top. show you. Like so. So now there is my cross member that's going to support the barrel roof. Is going to fit into that U up here, and it's going to curve up and over and into the other one. Like so. There we go. That gives me 2.5 feet on the front and 2.5 feet on the back to protect the lift. Here I'll give you a different perspective here. There's the rails, and the barrel hoop roof is going to curve up and over and join into this one. And that'll give me my cover. And then the next thing I think I'll probably end up doing, because there is some play in this. There's a play up and down because it doesn't fit perfect, is I'll run some braces down from here down to the, from up here down to the pipe, and that'll brace this, keep it from wobbling. Okay, that's a good start. Today, I think I'm going to finish for today, and I don't have any roofing, and that's the thing that's going to be the next step, is to put two pieces of roofing together, whether it be metal or plastic, and make my barrel roof, and I'll have to go and figure out what I'm going to use next. So we'll catch up with you when we get the roofing. Now I realize that you're probably not going to build a project exactly like I'm doing here for this little roof for my wheelchair lift. So I just want to let you know that the whole idea of my website is simply to encourage people to step out, use what they have in stock, go and buy some stuff if you need it. Start with an idea like I did. I needed a roof to protect my carrier, my wheel shift carrier here and lift. So I just started thinking, well, I've got 2 posts on either side. I can use that for an anchoring point. Put 2 posts in there, put a piece of channel on top. Now I got to come up with a roof. So I needed a lightweight roof to keep the water and the snow off. We get a considerable amount of snow up here. So it's important that I protect the wheelchair lift so that it doesn't get frozen in the wintertime. So just taking a pause here and saying, look, this is not probably a project that you would build. You might build something similar, building a new roof, but it's just to give you an idea and to encourage you and to spur you on into getting the tools out and building something for yourself. So we're up in the workshop now. We've cut our panels for the roof, cut them down to 60 inches, which is the length of my channel. Now I got to come up with a roof. And what I have, these particular panels, they're plexiglass, not plexiglass, they're some sort of a plastic. And believe me, I'm not enthralled with it. They told me that I could cut this stuff, which I've done many times before with other materials similar to this, with a plywood blade in a circular saw. In other words, a hand saw with a plywood blade in backwards. That's the result of that. It just shattered it. And, you know, it just made a heck of a mess. So I tried putting the blade in frontward, thinking, well, maybe that's it. This stuff, by the way, is made in Israel. I've never seen it before. Very thin. Not impressed with it at all, so I hope it works for me. It is very, very tense, I would say. The material is in a tensile state so that the slightest little crack and it just explodes. Like that. So hoping if I don't have any scratches or marks in it, then maybe we'll hold together. But anyway, they sell these for the multiple types of roofing that we have, corrugated roofing. They sell these plastic strips, not cheap. I think there was 4 of them for $15. But what are you going to use? They used to make them out of wood. Wood is not flexible enough for me, but these work great because they flex. And that's what I'm going to build, is this hoop roof over the top of my for my cover. And they come in sections. Like so. You can, you know, they're 24-inch long sections. And they have a little T's at one end, U's at the other, and they just simply snap together like that. And so you can build any multiples of these, which is perfect, because 3 of them is perfect for me. It gives me the proper arc between my 54-inch centers. Okay, so what I've got to do now, I've got my sample piece of channel here on the bench. I've got to see, and this works. I don't know, I really luck out with my junk I have lying around, because this actually slides in here perfectly and won't come out, like it's locked in. So when I'm finished getting these all in, I'm going to put 4 of these across to hold my roof. I can simply put in a tap screw through here into the plastic, and that'll hold it in place, and that'll keep my roof from blowing out. And it's also going to act as kind of a eaves trough to run the water away. So the next step, what I'm going to do, I'm going to try and screw this onto here, like so, this sample, and see if it fits into my track properly. Okay, now I'm set up to do my little test here, and these are the type of screws right here that you use. They have a little rubber sealing gasket to keep the water from leaking through your roofing, and a 1/4-inch tip, which I'm going to use in my light-duty screwdriver here. I have other drivers, but I'm afraid because of the delicacy of the roofing, I want it to go very slow and make sure I don't crack it. Here's another tip for you, just to interject here. This is a really handy, you can buy these for probably under $5 at any tool store. It's a little tray for keeping your screws, and it's magnetic. It, what can I stick it to here? You know. There, which is really nice for holding your screws. They won't fall out. So I can dump my load of screws in there, and I can carry them around to my job site and whatever, and they're in there. They won't fall out. It's all magnetized. So get one of these. Keep it on the bench. It's ideal to keep your screws. Are you dismantling anything? Don't want to lose it. They all stay there where they're supposed to be. So first off, we're going to take this and screw it to our little wavy molding and see if it'll actually fit in here, the molding, along with the roofing itself. There, that works very nicely, putting that in. It's just afraid of breaking it. Now, once the panels are all screwed to these wave moldings here, it has to slide into here. Okay, so I just discovered what I have to do on the job site. It won't go in with the screw head. And this is what I mean by, I think I talked earlier about not really having a plan, more of a concept of what I want, because you'll run into things like this that you can test out before you actually put it into application. So I'm going to move this up to the next location. And you'll notice I'm staying on the high side. The idea of that is if you put a screw in the low side, the chances of it leaking are greater than in the high side. So, I'm really happy with that, because that is very snug in there. And then we'll just continue our roofing up over. Oh, that looks like it's going to work. Very nice. So, that's our test portion done. We can go ahead with our roofing, and first I got to do a little bit of cleanup on the edges where the grinding disc actually melted the roofing together a little bit. I'll show you that right now. Okay, our sheets are out on the bench here, and I'm going to take my file, and you can see right here, I almost don't need a file, where they've kind of melted a little bit when it was cut. So we'll file that off gently and clean it up. Yeah, so that's our next step, and then we'll get on with laying out our roof and our little wavy moldings. So here you can see we've slid the roofing right inside the channel and secured it with screws. One screw is securing the plastic roofing and corrugated plastic, and the screw on the inside goes through aluminum flat stock. Once we got the roof put in to the track, we realized that the plastic itself and this plastic corrugated support was not quite strong enough. It was still flexing a bit. So we added in this piece of 1/8 by 1 inch aluminum flat stock, and it bowed nicely. It fit the entire span and stiffened it up considerably. So we added one of those to each and every one of the supports, and now we're quite confident that this will support a good bit of load. We'll just keep an eye on it over the winter so that the snow doesn't get too heavy on it, but that's strengthened it up substantially. Okay, we've got our roof is in place now. We've got our aluminum reinforcement going over, giving it some structural strength, Next stage is we have to even up both the back and front, take the flex out of it, and then put in some bracing here to stabilize it a little better. So we're going to go up to the workshop right now, and we're going to make some braces and assemble those, and that's pretty well the end of the project if we get those braces in. Now I'm going to show you how I made my braces. That's the two braces that are going to come down from the sides to the main post. Take the wiggle out of the roof altogether. And you can make your own. I mean, you can't go and buy specific braces. So you can't, they're not available. You have to make them. So here's one idea. I had some old tent poles lying around. This is half, one half, and another piece goes in here. Well, what I did is I took and I made 4 braces out of these tent poles. What you do is you cut your brace to length. In other words, I cut it 24 inches. That's what I want. And I flattened the end like so by crushing it. If you've got a heavy enough vise, put it in your vise and crush it ever so gently till you get it all flat. Then in the end, finish it off with a good size hammer on the little anvil on the vise. Takes any bulges out of it. And then the next step, what I'm going to do after I drill these, I got to drill a hole through now that's going to fasten into my cross brace and my main pipe coming down. So I want these at a 45 degree. So this here, what I'll do after they're drilled, easier to drill right now, put them in the vise, snug them up, and I'll bend them using my protractor, and I'll bend them to a 45 degree, and then I'll do them all the same. So when I go and fasten them, they'll all look equal and do the job I want, support the, and give me the bracing that I need for the roof. There you have it. That's one brace done. I'll just check it here for screw size. I'm going to use these same little hex screws I used for my roof. They seem to work quite nice, and that goes through there quite nicely. So now I've got my square 45 degree angle. I'm going to take my first drilled one, as you can see, and bend that to 45 degrees. Well, it's another beautiful day here in the Okanagan Valley, and as beautiful it is today, we do get some snow here. We live high above the valley. We're up about 1,000 feet above Okanagan Lake level, where we do get snow in the wintertime, but not as bad down at lake level. But up here where we are, it can be considerable at times. So today what we're going to do, I'm going to strengthen this canopy that I've got here with some bracing, and we're going to true it up. It's not quite square, and so that's today's project, and we're just going to carry on with that and let you see how we do it. So I've gone ahead and I've measured my distance here, and I've used 3 clamps, one on each side, to pull it together and lock it in place. So hopefully this distance here is the same as the other end. It's just ever so slightly out, so we're going to do a little bit of an adjustment here. That looks pretty good. Just going to take a little bit of a walk here and scan it by eye and see if there's anything that's out of whack. Well, after taking a look at it from a distance, it looks perfect. I mean, I can't see any better, so we're going to try and fasten it here to the posts right away, and that'll keep it from twisting. Now we're going to drill the posts, and so it secures it and keeps it from rotating on the post itself. We're just going to use a small 2.5 inch screw, bolt, and nut. This does not take an awful lot of stress or pressure. All it does is keeps the pipe true and in line. It doesn't support any of the weight, whatever. It's all sitting down on the pipe itself and the crossbar. There we go. That's one side done, and we'll just repeat the process on the other side. Now the next step is to put in our braces that we made. So we're going to do that by fastening at the same point down the post here, both of them, and then adjusting them back and forth until we get the top bar level. I hope it works. There we are. Now we'll just repeat the process on the other side here before we fasten to our cross member. Well, we've got our braces fastened to our center post. Now I've got to bring them in nice and tight and fasten them to our cross member here. Well, there we are. We're all constructed now. Got our braces in. Everything looks great. And we're just going to give it a clean up with some isopropyl alcohol, the finger marks off, and touch it up to match. Now we're going to touch up the paint and get it all matching here. Well, this is the best part of the whole project, and that's to say it's all finished. This is Ray from the Handyman's Haven. Hope you have enjoyed it. Come to my site, look at some of the other projects I'm doing, make it, hopefully it'll inspire you to get up, get your tools out and do some work around your place. Okay, till next time, bye for now.